Behind us.
I read a book on Genghis Khan and religious freedom, and he said things like Taoism is good for the nature, Confucianism is good for the state, Buddhism is good for the mind, and I think of China, and China has a Muslim population. I don't think it is as simplistic as you are saying. Plus, I read another book that was about China, and it was by a journalist, and it said, when 1 million Chinese people jump, will it save the world? And his last kind of conclusion was that there is so much pollution and corruption in China that it's very difficult.
Yes. Yeah, thank you. And I appreciate you raising these comments on that. And I agree with you that there is no simplistic answer anywhere, including looking to China. And so my point, when I look at the values that we can learn from traditional Chinese civilization, it's not to try to idealize either the China of the present moment or even the China of the past. You know, it's interesting. There's this philosophy from about 1,000 years ago in China during what was called the Song Dynasty, which I spent a whole chapter on because I love the way in which they integrate Buddhist and Taoist and Confucian ideas into this incredibly brilliant and I think really transformative way of understanding things. And that Song Dynasty was the same time that foot binding began in China, one of the cruelest, most horrendous practices that ever took place. And so that's a point I was mentioning earlier. There is no golden age, and there's no golden society. And I think what I've tried to do in my book is to point to elements of wisdom that we can gain. In our society right now, we're dealing, as David's pointing out so clearly, we're dealing with that existential crisis of all of humanity. It's desperate. And we need to find the most valuable tools we can get from any place we can get to try to build something that can give us a chance of flourishing in the future. So what I've tried to do in the book is to look at other cultures, not to say that one's better than this one, or Western culture, it sucks because, we do all these terrible things, and other cultures are better, but to say we can look at imbalances that we created in our culture. We did these amazing things, the technology we all love and use, and the advances in medicine that we all benefit from. We can be so grateful for that, and it's led to these imbalances. And we can look at other civilizations and we can recognize things that they did wrong and continue to do wrong. We can say, what can we learn from one civilization that we can apply? And what can we learn from modern science that we can apply? And can we cohere a new way of making meaning out of life that can actually take some of the positives from each of these things and leave behind the negatives and create something for our future? And now a lot of interesting, a lot of sort of postmodernist academics would shoot down everything I'm saying because they say, no, you to take these ideas out of their cultural context and apply them is complete bunk, and you have to look at, it gets to be meaningless, and you're just cherry picking and all that stuff. And I recognize in fact, in my preface, I discuss some of these kind of questions about that. But I think that we are in desperate straits right now, and we can't afford to be too clever about some of these ideas. We need to get the best, and we need to work together as a global community to come up with something that speaks to billions of people around the world. And that's what I hope this kind of conversation and some of the ideas I put in my book can do. So, but thank you for raising that.